Now, you couldn't have an Aussie summer without sun cream, cicadas and cricket. From crowded backyards to the back and beyond, from beach cricket to the centre wicket at the MCG, cricket is our national game. Its history and its heroes are amongst our national treasures. So who could forget the uproar 20 years ago, when a revolution featuring the world's best players turned the game and a century of tradition on its head? This is the story of World Series cricket.
Oh, good bounce, and Richards just missed his stumps there.
Good shot, 4.
We were standing up to the establishment, standing up for our rights.
It's a great catch. Oh, a magnificent catch.
But he's gone, that's it.
I think the players themselves hope to be able to get the best of both worlds.
Oh, what a marvellous catch. And it's gone, and it's over the top at 6.
They wouldn't tell me who would sign, who wouldn't sign.
That's a good shot. It was in the air, but it was beautifully timed.
That's 4 runs. I mean, it was wonderful. The coloured clothing, they bagged us. They called it pyjamas. They didn't understand what we were doing.
Healy's out given. The Costa goes, then before wicket.
Oh, that's a fine shot, a beautiful shot from Gordon Greenwich.
Clive Lloyd was the one who called me in Jamaica to tell me about World Series cricket, and they said that this was a hush-hush thing.
He's out. Magnificent catch by Christensen.
You realised when you went out there, there wasn't no garden party.
That's 4 more. 12 runs up the over. If you take the no ball in your count, 13.
And the next thing, he's sort of thrown the 2 fingers up, basically saying, you know, you can throw what you like at me, you know, you can get back to your mark.
Hold him, middle stump, hit right across it. Out goes the middle peg.
A few weeks ago, some of the legends from 2 decades past gathered in Sydney for a very special reunion.
Photo opportunity, eh? No worries.
They came to have a drink and celebrate the 20th anniversary of that most remarkable period in the history of the game.
In the presence of this man, what was it for?
When these players were primed, Australian cricket was supercharged. During the 1970s, delirious fans couldn't get enough of Lilly, Tomo and Marshy and the rest. Cricketers had long played for a lot of glory and not much gold. As other sports went professional, cricket was long overdue for a change too. And leading the charge for a fairer shake for the players, a bunch of larrikins, John Cornell, Paul Hogan and Dennis Lilly.
He's Sir Reginald Dunstan Brown, mate. He's the patron for the Royal Society for the Preservation of Wildlife.
Ah, well, he'll love this. A genuine stuffed owl.
Oh, beautiful, mate. It's a wonderful thing, preserving wildlife, isn't it, mate?
I think they just couldn't believe that the top elite sportsmen of a country were earning that small amount of money and actually struggling too in life.
Don't forget, I'm the family retainer and your personal valet. OK? Come in.
Oh, it looks beautiful, mate. It's good a purse to lend it to you.
I'll get the door, sir.
Cornell, I think, got back to me about 3 months or something time, or maybe even been a bit less than that. And I think that was when he said, have you heard of Kerry Packer? And that's when I said, no, I haven't. And he then explained that Kerry was very interested in the idea.
Where's the backing? You know, how are we going to get paid?
And I think that's basically where Kerry Packer became involved.
And so World Series cricket was born. After the break, one of the key players behind the scenes, former Australian Test captain Richie Benaud, takes up the story.
That's gone in the air, someone is under it, and it's going to be caught, magnificently caught. What a great catch by Rodney Marsh, that is unbelievable. There's that bouncer, he's out, caught and got it, well bowled, and
As the spearhead of the Australian bowling attack and the sport's most high-profile player, it seemed only natural that Dennis Lillee should lead the World Series charge. His involvement soon had other players considering their options. And as Michael Maher reports, the recruitment campaign was on in earnest.
And a foot caught, is he? Yes, he's out. Greg is caught by Cozier.
The centenary test at the MCG was the pickup joint. Any approach was to be an absolute secret.
And that's it. It's LBW. Alan Knott is out. Lillee has struck again.
It was a huge question mark on your face. You couldn't utter a word about it. But Dennis, you in this? Greg Chappell, you'd look around Dougie Walters, but you couldn't talk about it. We were sworn to secrecy, and so I went with my gut feeling.
I was the linchpin for really letting these guys know that everything would be okay.
And away it goes for his, could be his 50, out towards the boundary, a beautiful shot. 4 in a row.
A little later came the man who saw Tony Greig to the pickets 5 times in 1 over, David Hooks.
I rang Ian Chappell, who was in Sydney, and I said, look, what do I do? You got some advice for me here? He rang, he said, you better fly to Sydney and meet John Cornell, who I only knew as Strop, of course, on television. I didn't know the background, and I certainly didn't know the name Kerry Packer to any great extent. And I went to John's place, and he opened the door, and I was waiting for some bloke with a surf life-saving cap on his head, and some normal bloke answered the phone. I thought he must have been the butler or somebody. And John just took me for a stroll overlooking the bridge and the harbour and the soft cell and then the hard cell, and just put the idea to me then, and I signed on the spot.
I didn't feel betrayed. I was shocked, and I think the board was to some extent hurt because it believed that it was doing the best it could for the players.
My initial reaction was, well, that's interesting. Then I did it for myself. After that was easy. It was a good deal for me.
Then came an overseas contingent led by those who'd been paid a pittance, the West Indies. They would light up the series. The wicketkeeper was approached by his captain between overs in a test match.
We'd had a very good relationship, Clive and myself, and he knew he could trust me. Yes, it was confidential, and so he was just, and I suppose in a way asking, for confirmation that he was doing the right thing.
They had approached 4 of us at that time, 4 West Indians that is, Clive Lloyd, Andy Roberts, Bibb Richards and myself. And Clive told me that he had signed, and so I said to myself, well, if Clive had signed, I have to sign as well, because those days we all looked upon Clive as a father figure.
It's great for us because, I mean, obviously we weren't playing at that level. You know, we weren't able to play with the West Indian players. We weren't able to play Test cricket against England or Australia, or anybody else for that matter. So, any opportunity to play with 60 of the best cricketers in the world for us was going to be a fantastic opportunity.
Off to England for the Ashes tour, the Australians took their secrets with them. The team settled for a draw against Kent, and a week later, on May the 9th, World Series cricket was exposed to all in the media. An advertisement in the Times summed up the mood. In affectionate remembrance of international cricket, which died at Hove, 9th of May 1977, deeply lamented by a large circle of friends and acquaintances. R.I.P. NB, the body will be cremated and the ashes taken to Australia and scattered around the studio of TCN 9 Sydney.
While some Australians were wondering what Kerry Packer and company were doing to their game, in England, the traditionalists were outraged.
What distresses me is the fact that we have a situation here where an Australian who professes to have the best interests of certain cricketers and the game in general at heart has in fact done damaging things to our cricket. And
What exactly?
Well, what will happen if... I actually personally believe that the rest of the World Series probably will turn out to be not quite the draw that Mr. Packer thinks.
You haven't been right to date, so that might be the first thing you're right about.
Well...
Cricket's hierarchy was determined to stop the new chums. In late July, the ICC, the International Cricket Conference, threatened to ban WSC players from Test and first-class matches. And people like Richie Benno, WSC consultant and commentator, were dubbed disapproved persons.
What right has the International Cricket Conference to say to the sporting public of Australia that my wife and I are disapproved people?
With the Ashes lost, World Series bosses decided to do what players became famous for in their games. They went on the attack, challenging the ICC's ban in the High Court.
The lawyers and critics had their say, but ultimately, the public would be the judge. After the break, it's season 1. Showtime for World Series cricket.
Oh, he's done him! He's done him, he's hit his stumps. Thomas King has hit down his stumps.
I think you'll find this is out. After the Spurg umpire confirms, I think we'll see the finger go up here.
I think he's got to be out because there was a fearful clump of willow on Ash. I would think he must be. Oh, what a marvellous catch! That's the catch that wins $33,000. What a great performance by Ray Bright.
What was going to happen to us? That was the question on every player's mind as he went to sleep in the latter part of that tour. I mean, is it going to be all right? I mean, is this going to really work out? I mean, we have got ourselves in the shit here, haven't we? I mean, let's be really honest.
Indeed, the WSC recruits were in a predicament. Denied access to traditional grounds like the SCG. Even more disastrously, they had no pitches on which to play. Or did they?
I had an idea when I was in Brisbane that it'd be nice to lay wickets in huge slabs. It had never been done before. I didn't know how to do it. And when World Series started, I thought, yeah, that's the way, you know, because I was racking my brain.
When I started to see on television, you know, they were making the pitches, John Maley was making the pitches in the cement trays in Melbourne, and you know, he was working hard at the Sydney showground with his chicken wire and producing pitches there, you see. That's about the time I started to think to myself, this might actually get off the ground.
There were so many conventions broken. Johnny Maley, for example, was growing not just grass, but wickets, full-blown, three-dimensional wickets. And within a week, we were actually using that surface to play the first Super Test.
How could you refuse to prepare pitches for the best players in the world for a competition like that?
And he's out. McCosker is gone. Vivian Richards has caught him at third slip. The hook from Ian Chappell, and a
very, very good shot. That's out. That is plumb. Greenwich doesn't look too happy about it.
Oh, there's a great shot down the ground off the back foot. Didn't move. He punched that high over mid-on. And again, there she goes again. A great shot, this time through mid-wicket. That's a Bradman-type shot. Well forward of the squaring umpire.
Great shot.
It didn't even make any difference to me when we started out playing World Series cricket and there were only a handful of people in some of the stadiums, because I've always said that it was the competition that got me going. If the game was competitive, then I was into it.
That's a good shot from Chappell. A vacant area there at mid-on.
Gosh, we could have been in the country. It looks pretty naked when there's no one in the stand. I mean, every little ball on Willow, she just echoed around the ground. I think there were more seagulls than people there to start with.
Well evaded in the end. Once well bowled, and it's out. A very, very good piece of bowling that from Max Walker.
For the record, only 13,000 spectators turned up at VFL Park to see the West Indies win that Super Test in a low-scoring game. At the same time in Brisbane, more than 32,000 were watching the establishment Australians winning at the Gabba against India. On all accounts, it was a shaky start, with critics gleefully predicting a short life for the new venture. But not so for the Windies, who were relishing the novelty of winning on Australian soil.
And that's a mighty hit by Clive Lloyd. Picked it up and it sailed high and just over the boundary. The crowd signalling 6, and that is a 6. It's a mighty hit by Clive Lloyd. And he'll come for the second. The return is on the way. He'll have to hurry. There's an appeal for run out, but Walters just makes it.
West Indians were known as the great entertainers. You know, people used to love the Calypso cricketers were coming to Australia or England, and teams loved playing against us, particularly because they would win. We would do the entertaining and they would win, so it was great for them. And all of a sudden we changed the attitude in World Series cricket.
And it's in the air, and Julian just can't get there. Diving forward. Just couldn't get there.
You played a Super Test against Andy Roberts, Michael Holding, Joel Garner and Colin Croft, and when that was over, you then went and played a one-day international, and you played against Andy Roberts and Michael Holding and Joel Garner and Wayne Daniel and Colin Croft.
And there's an appeal for a quarter to wicket. Not out, says the umpire. Lee flashing at it outside the off stump. The West Indies disgusted. Wayne Daniel with his 4th wicket. Superb performance by this young West Indian.
West Indies had never won a series in Australia before, official, unofficial, whatever. So yeah, there was great pride in us winning.
In the air, out. It's all over. The West Indies have won. The West Indies have won an amazing cricket match by 25 runs. West Indies are 124. Australia all out for 99.
As the show moved on to Sydney for the second Super Test, the West Indies had the Australians looking for some answers. Standing up to the pace bowling tornado would call for some real courage at the crease.
A great shot. Won't quite go for 4. Collis King will pull it up just inside the boundary.
And this is another one. That's another 4 for hooks. They won't catch this one. Into the boundary. 5 fours and a 2 off the over. 22 in all. And the crowd is delirious.
But the risk of injury was never far away.
Andy Roberts here, the most experienced of the West Indian fast bowlers, and a great fast bowler in his own right. Coming on to see if he can put the brake on.
Hit him. And he's in trouble.
I mean, I wish it happened to somebody else. I wish it was happening to Marshy at the other end and not me. I mean, I don't want to be the one that is remembered for stimulating the growth of helmets in this country. But I think it was, if you take my name out of that discussion, I think the fact that World Series again was innovative in a different area, I think that's quite amazing.
We've seen that helmet tested out in action, and here it is.
It went off like a firecracker, and my reaction was sort of stunned for a second.
And Marshy said, mate, he said, I know where there's a good panel shop can fix up that hat for you.
We were now professional cricketers, and by getting whacked in the head, it might cost you 6 weeks. If you were out for 6 weeks, then you know, your employer wasn't a pleased person.
Rod Marsh just about to throw it up.
Oh, it's hit him. Hit him somewhere around about the shoulder or neck. Oh! No comment needed.
And he just sort of nodded his head like that, and I thought, gee, you know, that's incredible. And then the next thing, he's sort of thrown the 2 fingers up, basically saying, you know, you can throw what you like at me, you know, you can get back to your mark.
From a West Indian point of view, it was bad for us because it meant that the batsmen had some protection. But from our point of view, when we had to face Lilly and Pascoe and people like that, it was a great intervention, yeah.
Like most innovations, helmets did generate some teething problems, not least of which was hearing the call when running between the wickets.
Here's McGann, chance to run at the bowler's end, he'll be out. And another one down in the World 11 committing cricket suicide here with bad calling there.
And he's gone. He's gone, magnificent. Well, that was a third attempt there. The West Indies seem to be doing it like jugglers today.
I think one of the things that World Series cricket did, certainly through the television coverage, was bring it a lot closer to spectators. You know, people actually began to feel that they just weren't watching, you know, gladiators out on the field, but they were actually part of what was happening.
Yes, it was a whole new deal for the viewing public, and one of the promises of World Series cricket was that it would pit the best against the best.
And that's his 150, lifted it over the top for 4.
That's a great shot. Pulled away in front of square leg by Chappell. He was very quickly in the position for that.
And that's a short bouncer. Greenwich stands there as well, he might. Oh!
If anyone thought that World Series cricket was just exhibition games, you know, they must have convinced them that these games are very full on.
And, not the most friendly of deliveries to greet the new batsman. Robinson hit on the left arm there.
They were fearsome. I mean, Roberts, for me, ranks alongside Lilly as the toughest fast bowler. They could just keep going. You throw Holding in there as a really super fast bowler, and all the backup they had as well. They were fearsome. And, you know, so were the Australians. I mean, we're talking about playing what some of the batsmen in the world consider to be the toughest cricket ever.
Out. Tony Greig has caught Bernard Julian.
There were just no easy runs, no let-up. And if you were struggling for form, heaven knows how you were going to get back into form.
Chance! It's gone! Well caught by Rodney Marsh. A loose shot from Barry Richards.
They were trying to get you and we were trying to get them, and it was competitive. That's why the cricket was so good.
But the big change was night cricket. That was the thing that really turned it for World Series cricket.
And it's Len Pascoe to bowl the first ball to Barry Richards.
And the first ball underway nights in the history of Australian cricket is a no ball.
The first night game at VFL Park at Waverley, there was quite a good crowd turned up at the start of play.
That's out. Yes. Ian Chappell, fine catch. Dennis Amos playing away from his body.
Came back out to play the second session. Suddenly, the ground was, there was 38,000, 39,000 people there.
He's gone. It's in the air. All sorts of fielders coming for it, and Greg Chappell just can't get there in time. Out, caught behind.
And to me, I think that was the day come night that we all felt, hello, this thing has turned around.
Turning on the lights wasn't the only switch for day-night cricket. For players and spectators to follow the action after dark, the ball would need a change of colour.
Lofted, and it's missed in the lights, but taken eventually by the fielder at mid-on, Mick Malone. He lost it in the lights. You could see that he didn't pick it up, was looking all over the place for it.
Gee, I remember the night we went out to VFL Park. You talk about research, we had a cardboard box. Not much bigger than around about less than a metre square. Every colour cricket ball imaginable to mankind. We got iridescent green, yellow, orange, red, pale pink, blue, white, red. And I don't know, I just couldn't imagine Joel Garner or Michael Holding or Andy Roberts out of a black side screen with any colour ball in the hand that was going to be a success.
Ultimately, after exhaustive tests, white was the colour. By match 2, played the following night, both players and fans were beginning to appreciate the dramatic atmosphere of cricket under lights.
Australia playing a lot better in the past week or so. Beautifully fielded, magnificent. Ian Davis, the fielder. Thou shalt not pass. Well, that one cut back. I don't think Greenwich expected it to cut back as much as it did. And this could be close. He's gone. Greenwich run out. Greenwich run out. Beautiful bit of fielding by Gary Gilmore. The West Indies are 1 for 18. Uppish just falling short of Ian Davis. And he's out. Well, he really deserved that wicket. He worked for it.
Or Robbo. Cut him in two. And I think you'll find on the replay that it flicked the top of Richard's pad. No matter what Lenny Pascoe might be saying. And that's good, sensible bowling. And great running. And he's gone. Must be on. You can hear the snick from here, even through the commentary box window. And Vivian Richards has gone. Max Walker has done the trick.
Just short of Max Walker, and still the inevitable single to Jim Allen.
Good running. And good cricket from Marsh. A long way to come from that wicket-keeping position. And quite rightly, he's asking where was the fellow standing by the stumps at the bowler's end. Bowling, and Wright has struck.
And it's down to long on. He's gone. He's taken. Fine catch by Maxie Walker. Julian is out. A decisive wicket. Out for 30. Caught Walker. Bowled by Bright. 7 for 169. Leg by. Very quickly taken here. He's home, but a good bit of fielding.
And he's caught him. Andy Roberts has gone. Ray Bright again, and what a good day he's had, and an even better night.
That's safe through down to mid-on. Greg Chappell, it'll just be one. Two balls remaining, 5 needed. Wayne Daniel has strike.
Well, Wayne isn't, and he'll admit to this, the best batsman in the world. So getting himself into a position where he had to hit a six off the last ball, you know, it's like winning the lottery.
Well, they've had their conference. They will have decided that, or that Wayne Daniel goes for the doctor with this second last delivery. Malone. He's hit it many a mile. He's hit it for six.
It's over. A magnificent hit from Wayne Daniel. Mick Malone pitching down the wing side, and look at the jubilation in the West Indian room, and rightly so. Poor bowling, but a great shot out of the ground at VFL Park for 6 runs, and what a finish to a magnificent match.
Joel Garner and Wayne Daniel. What a hit by Wayne Daniel. Away over long on. Smashed it away into the crowd. And that was a tremendous effort from the West Indians. But a great match between two splendid teams. It had been a wild ride, but by the end of that first season, the public had developed an appreciation of what World Series cricket had to offer. The off-season provided a chance to develop a winning strategy. That was both on and off the field.
Ball hit into the ground, and there are the two keepers together having a good laugh about it. There it is again. Very unusual happening, this into the ground. Up it goes, and back comes Murray and just knocks it away. Beating leg stump, they'll go for a single here, and the ball hits the stumps, but well home and overthrows. So what confusion. All sorts of madness going on.
The players and the product were in place. Now it was simply a matter of public acceptance.
I mean, gosh, to be under huge 6 light pylons, floodlit, coloured gear, the chant, come on, Aussie, come on, come on. I mean, that was electric stuff.
Come on, Aussie, come on, come on. Come on, Aussie, come on, come on. Come on, Aussie, come on.
Lily's pounding down like a machine. Pascoe's making divots in the green. Marsh is taking wickets, Hooks he's clearing pickets, and the Chapel's eyes have got that killer gleam. Mr. Walker's playing havoc with the bat. Red Park, it's good to see you back. Ladies making runs, Ducky's chewing gum, and Gilmore's wielding willow like an axe.
Come on, Aussie, come on, come on. Come on, Aussie, come on, come on.
Cornell actually got, as I say, got it done by Mojo.
That's the lily bit.
Yeah.
The lily bit.
Pound it down like a machine.
Lily's pounding down like a machine. Pascoe's making, I can't see the words here, pal. Pascoe's making divots in the green.
He rang me up and said, mate, have a listen to this. And on the phone, he played Come On Aussie, Come On. The first time I heard it, I thought, oh, shit. You know, can you imagine on the phone, like, not that. I thought, oh, yeah, okay, good. And I said, could you play it again? And he played it again, and I heard it 3 or 4 times, and then it's just so catchy. And then he sent me a tape over, and I played it on stereo. It was fantastic.
With a few minor hiccups, the players were more than ready to embrace the changes, but would the fans be willing to follow? In season 2, with World Series at last fairly permitted access to one of the game's traditional arenas, the ingredients finally came together on one magical evening in Sydney, November 28, 1978. And what a sight it is here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Play some 6 or 7 minutes away from restarting the second session.
John Cornell came in the room and said, Dennis, come upstairs. Went upstairs, and we walked into a little executive room up the top of the SCG, and out the back there's a window, and you can see out the back, and there was files of people, like thousands of people in lines trying to get in. And Kerry Packer took Cornell and I across to the window and said, "Have a look at that." And as we looked, he said, "We've made it."
And I remember when we walked on, there was a huge crowd there, and they'd been singing "Come On, Aussie, come on," and there was a fantastic atmosphere. And as we walked through the gate onto the Sydney Cricket Ground, I remember Rodney Marsh saying, "We're back."
Timed that beautifully, going away down the hill towards the fence at the southern end again. A good shot, Greg Chappell. In the air, and it must be out. It is. Greg Chappell caught and mid-on.
Wide. No. Gordon Greenwich. And hitting the stumps. He's out. Beautiful bit of cricket by Gordon Greenwich. What a magnificent bit of cricket by Gordon Greenwich. He spotted that Bruce Laird was out of his ground. Edged. Long chase here for Joel Garner. Stops it with that bull pointers. Over the boundary. Fine shot, right down the ground, will go all the way.
I will never forget, as long as I live, being in an aeroplane, and it wasn't a jet, it was just a small plane, with all the players coming back from the bush, and the pilot said, apparently the scenes around the Sydney Cricket Ground are just incredible.
Appeal for a catch, he's gone. Ian Chappell out, Port Murray. Quick single, having to hurry. And he's hit the stumps, he's gone. Beautiful bit of fielding, hooks run out. You do not run sharp singles like that to Vivian Richards.
Those images from that memorable night offered a wonderful glimpse into the future of cricket.
The product was there. However, what had gone before hadn't really done the right thing by the product. It had all been so conservative, you know, turn up to Lords and, you know, go out there in white, and it's pretty same each year. But we did bring it to life. We switched the lights on at night. I mean, it was wonderful. The coloured clothing, they bagged us. They called it pyjamas. They didn't understand what we were doing. You can't play night cricket with a white ball and wear white clothes. I mean, it's just not possible. We found all that stuff out.
The Australians out in their gold colours. And to be quite frank, even though I was saying that I didn't like the West Indian colours because they were too really outlandish for my liking, the Australian gold has really shown up beautifully out there this evening.
We never expected that we, of all people, would end up in pink uniforms.
Pascoe now, Lloyd the batsman, and good bouncing from Pascoe. Appeal. And Lily this time is a lot more confident, but I reckon that's a bit high. And Richard Austin.
I think the West Indies were pretty unhappy with pink, but...
Bowled in. Terrible shot by Viv Richards. And he pays the penalty.
4 runs. I don't think it was catchable. I think it bounced in front of Alan Knott. It certainly went between Knott and Barry Richards, that first slip.
And that's also a little bit funny, although I don't know if David Hook thinks so.
I think that the World 11's pale blue looked absolutely wonderful.
Lights, white balls, coloured clothing, capacity crowd. The world's best players engaged in an exciting limited overs format. Meanwhile, at home, a vast audience was enjoying the game as they'd never seen it before. It came courtesy of a TV coverage and a range of ingenious ideas developed here in Australia and eventually adopted by sports telecasters around the world. The revolution had made its mark. Next, reconciliation. It's the wrong one. And he's got him. What a breakthrough for the Australians. And Vivian Richards has been given out. Marsh must have clung onto the ball.
He's gone, that's it. The match is over. Australia have won. Max Walker is finishing off with his 5th wicket. The Australians are jubilant.
I'm not certain that World Series cricket, and I've said this on many occasions, was a bad thing for cricket anyway. I think that it brought the Australian Cricket Board ahead in 2 years or 3 years what may have taken it 30 years and may never have happened.
World Series cricket came along and I agreed to play because I agreed with the principle of it all, and I thought this is the opportunity. The players have got an opportunity here to stand up and be counted and to strike a blow against the cricket boards. I mean, for all these years they'd had all the cards were stacked in their favour. Suddenly we'd been dealt a couple of aces and maybe even a joker.
So Boyd asks for the catch. I think he's got him. Beautiful bowling.
There's no doubt that one-day cricket has been the lifeline over the last 20 years, which has kept cricket very viable and enabled the players, not only the players, but all the states, to be able to get healthy revenue to develop the game.
Oh, there's a big appeal. Yes, and he's given him. Oh, that's tremendous fielding.
We were part of a revolution which changed the face of the game, hopefully for the better, and I think it has been for the better, and I'm just very proud to be part of that.
Got him! Well bowled. 300 test wickets for Shane Warne. That was a beautiful delivery to get it.
This country, Australia, is the most cosmopolitan country in the world, and it has a population of millions of people that were not raised in the cricket tradition that can understand limited over cricket better than they can understand test cricket. They're learning to understand test cricket. Test cricket figures are improving, and they will continue to improve because of limited over cricket. Now, to whom do you attribute that? And I go back to World Series cricket.
We started off having a war with the cricket board. We ended up being friends with them, and between them and us, I think we've ended up doing a service for cricket, which has been good for the game, good for the individuals, and good for the general public.
So 2 decades after those turbulent but exciting times, the larrikins, the individuals who led the way, deserve credit for changing the course of cricket history, adding life and vigour to what Sir Donald Bradman calls the most wonderful game of all.
This has been a presentation of Nine's Wide World of Sports.